Imagine for a moment that you really love your right arm. You care for it so much that you want to protect it from any strain or fatigue. Out of concern, you decide not to let it do any work at all. You tie it up, fix it in place, and from that moment onward, you refuse to use it for anything. You only use your left arm for daily activities, watching movies, entertaining yourself, working, and everything else. If you think about it, will your right arm become stronger and more resilient over time? Or will it gradually weaken, lose its function, and waste away? The answer is obvious. An arm that isn't used becomes weaker and less capable. This is the point I want to share with you. Sometimes, in our desire to protect or nurture something, we take the wrong approach. Our good intentions can lead to bad outcomes if we're not careful about how we act. In this narrative, I won't be talking about your arms or your body. Instead, I'll focus on something even more important to all of us: our brains. Everyone wants their mind to grow, their intelligence to sharpen, and their confidence to increase. We all hope to become wiser, more insightful, and more capable. But there are everyday habits, small things we do, often without noticing, that can, bit by bit, undermine our brains. We think we're caring for ourselves, but sometimes these actions have the opposite effect. Let's explore 5 habits that might be quietly sabotaging your brain, even as you believe you're doing the right thing. The first habit is learning too much, taking in knowledge without balance. This doesn't mean you shouldn't pursue education or be curious. It's about the way we consume information in today's world. We read countless books, listen to a variety of podcasts, and watch all kinds of educational content on YouTube. We fill our minds with wisdom, life philosophies, and things we should do. But often, we stop there. We don't apply what we learn. The knowledge remains theoretical, someone else's experience, not our own. This kind of accumulation creates an illusion of growth. You might feel knowledgeable, but when it comes time to act, you hesitate. You're afraid to make mistakes because the theories in your head say it should be done a certain way. You become stuck, knowing a lot but doing little. The truth is, knowledge that isn't put into action remains shallow. The most valuable growth happens when you take what you've learned, try it out, make mistakes, and reflect on the results. That process turns knowledge into experience, and experience, when examined, matures into wisdom. Wisdom is the deep, lasting understanding that stays with you for life. It's not about how many books you've read or how many theories you know. It's about what you've tried, what you've learned from those attempts, and how you've grown as a result. So, if the first step is learning, the next must be doing. Only then can you reflect and gain true wisdom. If you find yourself accumulating knowledge without action, pause and ask, how can I implement what I've learned? What small step can I take today? This is the path to healthy brain development and a more meaningful life. The second habit concerns sleep. Many people, especially students or young professionals, fall into a pattern of staying up late, then sleeping in to make up for lost rest. On weekends or holidays, when there are no pressing obligations, you might tell yourself, I'll use this free time to catch up on reading or do something meaningful. But in reality, you spend much of it sleeping or lounging. You might argue, I'm an office worker. I don't have time to sleep a lot. In fact, I'm always sleep deprived. But if you look closely, you'll see that on days off or during breaks, you probably oversleep. This cycle of inconsistent sleep, too little during the week, too much on weekends, disrupts your natural rhythms and leaves your mind sluggish. The core of the problem is not the amount of sleep, but the quality and consistency. When you sleep at irregular hours, stare at your phone before bed, or eat late at night, your body never fully rests. Your mind doesn't get the deep, restorative sleep it needs to repair and grow. Over time, this leads to chronic fatigue, reduced focus, and poorer mental health. There's a book called Why We Sleep that was highly recommended by Bill Gates. He admits that in his early career, he worked tirelessly, often sacrificing sleep for productivity. Looking back, he wishes he had known the true importance of sleep, not just for physical health, but for mental clarity and long-term success. Don't make the same mistake. Prioritize regular, deep sleep. Turn off screens before bed, keep a consistent schedule, and allow your mind the rest it needs. Good sleep is not a luxury. It's a necessity for a sharp, resilient brain. The third habit is mental laziness, avoiding difficult thinking. When faced with a tough problem, it's easy to say, "This is too hard, I'll just skip it," or "Someone else will handle it." If you grew up without being encouraged to solve problems independently, you might have learned to rely on others whenever things got tough. In today's world, technology makes it even easier to avoid deep thinking. Content is designed to be quick and digestible. Decisions are made in seconds. This environment trains your brain to prefer easy, shallow thought over sustained effort. As a result, your mind loses its ability to dive deep, to wrestle with complex ideas, to persist through confusion. Even when watching movies, you might prefer short recaps or reviews instead of exploring the full story and its layers of meaning. When you encounter a challenge, you stop at the surface, missing the root causes and deeper insights. To counter this, practice asking why at least 3 times when you face a problem. For example, if you're late to school, don't just say, "I was late because of traffic." Ask, "Why was there traffic?" Maybe it's because you left during rush hour. Why did I leave so late? Perhaps you stayed up watching a show the night before. By digging deeper, you uncover the real issues and can develop better solutions. This habit of deep thinking is a skill you can train. Make it a point to analyze problems, seek root causes, and reflect on your experiences. Over time, your brain will become more agile, creative, and capable of solving even the most challenging problems. The fourth habit is overindulging in entertainment. Entertainment serves a valuable purpose. It helps us relax, recharge, and escape stress for a while. But when it becomes excessive, it turns into a trap. You might tell yourself, just one more video, one more scroll, one more episode. But these moments add up, and soon hours are lost in passive consumption. This kind of entertainment is designed to be addictive. It gives you a quick hit of pleasure, helping you forget stress and responsibility. But it also delays your important tasks, creating a cycle of procrastination and anxiety. As deadlines loom, you scramble to catch up, feel overwhelmed, and seek more distraction. It becomes a never-ending loop: stress, escape, guilt, and more stress. Worse, overindulgence in entertainment dulls your creativity. It makes your mind passive, always waiting to be stimulated by others, instead of generating your own ideas. The satisfaction of accomplishing something meaningful, finishing a project ahead of schedule, overcoming a challenge, becomes foreign. You lose touch with the sense of pride that comes from effort, skill, and teamwork. Another danger is that our brains are wired to focus on negative information, a survival trait from ancient times when recognizing threats was essential. This is why sensational news, scandals, and gossip draw so much attention. They appeal to our instinct to stay alert to danger. Media outlets know this, so they produce more dramatic, shocking content to keep us hooked. As we consume more negative news, our outlook becomes more pessimistic. The solution isn't to cut out entertainment entirely or avoid the news. Instead, be conscious of your habits. If you find yourself saying, "Just 5 more minutes," pause and ask, "Will I really stop after this, or will I keep going for hours?" Set limits and hold yourself accountable. If you plan to spend 2 hours watching videos or scrolling through social media, set a timer and stick to it. Notice how you feel afterward and reflect on whether this use of time served you well. The fifth and final habit is the influence of your environment. This is perhaps the most powerful force shaping your brain and your life. The people you spend time with, the spaces you inhabit, and the routines you follow all set the standard for your behavior and thinking. If your environment is cluttered, disorganized, or filled with distractions, it's almost impossible to concentrate or perform at your best. But environment is more than just physical space. It includes your social circles and the beliefs, attitudes, and habits of those around you. If you wake up each morning determined to start your day with energy and purpose, but all your friends are still in bed, it's hard to stay motivated. If your peers are always complaining or making excuses, you'll start to adopt the same mindset, even without realizing it. On the other hand, being around people who challenge themselves, pursue growth, and support each other's goals can inspire you to reach higher. When you see someone persist in learning a new skill or creating something from scratch, it can open your mind to new possibilities. Their habits and attitudes become contagious, and gradually, your own standards rise. For example, you might have a friend who decides to make a handmade gift, a carved wooden object. At first, you might think it's impossible, but by watching their persistence and progress, you begin to see that what seemed out of reach is actually possible with effort and patience. This is the magic of environment. It quietly shapes your beliefs, your habits, and ultimately, your destiny. If you want to change your life, start by changing your environment. Seek out mentors, people who have achieved what you aspire to, who can guide you and set an example. Find communities that share your values and ambitions. Surround yourself with those who encourage growth, creativity, and resilience. In summary, your brain, like your right arm, needs to be used, challenged, and cared for in the right ways. Accumulating knowledge without action leads to stagnation. Poor sleep habits dull your mind and drain your energy. Avoiding deep thinking makes you passive and dependent. Excessive entertainment traps you in a cycle of pleasure and guilt, while a negative environment pulls you down. But you have the power to change these patterns. Turn knowledge into experience. Prioritize restful sleep. Train your mind to think deeply. Enjoy entertainment in moderation, and surround yourself with people and places that lift you up. Your brain's the most valuable asset you have. Treat it well, not by shielding it from effort and challenge, but by engaging it, nurturing it, and allowing it to grow. In doing so, you'll unlock not only greater intelligence and creativity, but also the wisdom and resilience to lead a richer, more fulfilling life.